on their own. What they did was, in the middle of a team fight, found a Hecarim that was counter-engaging, who was slightly out of position, and while the rest of his team was turning around to try to retreat, thinking that that was their disengage signal, they were able to just quickly turn around and grab that Hecarim on the way out, despite how he blew his very powerful CC effects on some of their champions.
I'm saying combine that with earlier Darius teleporting in, trying to go ahead and throw down a kill really quick, and Zyra pretty much negating that was really, really well played on Hokage's part.
Absolutely. Zyra is such an amazing pick for these pick comps, because when you have a Zyra on your team, there is not only the massive amount of CC that she can land with that root, because that is a relatively quickly progressing root for a decent duration of time, which enables great peel potential. She also creates plants that slow enemies, plants that can do additional damage to enemies and slow them if she picks up a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, and she also has her ult on top of that, right, which makes it incredibly potent for team fights, basically allowing massive areas to be locked up and people to be completely out of the fight for considerable periods of time.
Right. So right now it looks like, and it looks...
Zyra ends up managing to get that ward in without being hooked by the Thresh. I think she was just barely in the fog of war when she ended up throwing that. We see the Kha'Zix coming in, and he jumps, hits the Q, and the isolation damage plus the...
culling, yeah.
Yes, plus the culling ends up quickly finishing off that Thresh. That's a major source of CC down, and they're able to start getting this tower push underway. It seems that Echo is going for the Draven. He's in his bubble, and he ults backwards successfully, stunning the Hecarim, who is pushed out of the fight. Shen, who teleported down, is being very effective, and this looks to be a very quick and easy turret for the Hokages if they can manage to zone off the remaining members of NAEVI. Shen teleporting top to make sure he doesn't lose his top tower in retaliation, and that was an incredibly great play. Overall, great macro and pick comps, completely utilized well by the Hokages.
Is Shen about to try and get a kill on the Darius after he just teleported bot?
It is possible. This Shen, one of Darius's greatest strengths is the fact that he heals off his Q. If you get hit with the blade of the Q, which is a range that is not directly next to him, but not that far away, when he spins, he ends up healing off you based off a percentage of his missing health.
Right.
But this Shen is doing an incredibly good job making sure he stays out of that area, so every time he goes to trade with the Darius, he can't end up healing up back off the end of the trade.
Right. And that whole incident from before actually looks like it sent Darius back to his base. And now it looks like there's a mountain dragon in the dragon pit, so chances are both teams are probably looking to go ahead and get that. Darius still has his teleport, so he can go ahead and do things still.
Hecarim engaged on Echo with a quick damage burst. Echo looked to get some counter engage on the Hecarim, and Hecarim looking to be going deep in this fight as he's going to be able to pull off this ult. Zyra ult picks up several people, and it seems that the calling is coming out, whittling down that Hecarim. He's so close to dying. Echo is going to be looking to go in with that time bubble, but it is not quite good enough to finish people off. The only people to die were the supports, the Thresh and the Zyra. One kill for either team.
All right, and it looks like Hokages are going to go ahead and start pushing mid. They should honestly be able to get this at this point because it doesn't look like NAEVI was in a position to counter a push like that. So really good, really strong map awareness from the Hokages for completely recognizing that they had a minion wave pushing in mid pretty much at the tower and that they could just quickly walk there and take that.
Absolutely. There was just phenomenal play, and as soon as they backed off, they, again, like the Brand ult going down last game, they understood the advantages they have just with these small little things, and they go in and they capitalize off of these in huge ways. It was an even trade as far as kills go, but the Hokages still managed to take a turret off it because their macro gameplay of understanding the map and the pacing of the game is doing so much better and doing so much more for them than the NAEVI.
Right, and it looks like Hecarim tried to go ahead and stop them from taking blue buff, but he is quickly persuaded not to stay in the area.
He was wildly outclassed, and in fact, he actually had to burn his ult, which is his main engage tool, to run away from that fight so he didn't get killed. That is a huge piece of pressure down for NAEVI once again.
And it looks like Hokage are going to go ahead and start this Earth Dragon. Yeah, it's starting to get a little more out of control for NAEVI. They're going to have to try and do something really quick if they plan on actually making a comeback in this game, because right now, Hokages are up 4.4k gold right now. If things continue as they are, the gold advantage for Hokage is going to be so significant that NAEVI just won't be able to keep up.
When we look at it, we see so much. We see about 400 gold difference in the top lane. Not hugely significant, but then when we look at the jungle, we can see how much difference there is. There is a 1,300 gold difference in that lane alone. Then we look to mid lane, 1,700 gold advantage for the Echo. If we look to bot lane, the Lucian is keeping up very well with this Draven that gets extra gold whenever he gets a kill.
And in all honesty, the fact that Lucian has kept up with Draven means that Draven lost his lane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Draven needs to get ahead drastically in order to continue his relevance. But Lucian just continues to scale and will become more and more powerful as the game progresses, and he is able to execute these
strategies as they're moving forward.
These strategies.
Oh, but it looks like Zyra is going to go ahead and get caught out a little bit. She tries to throw down an ult, and it looks like they catch Hecarim out a little bit with the Shin ult. They aren't able to finish him off, and Zyra is able to live. She's starting to recover her health thanks to the Ocean Drake, but that almost turned into a pretty terrifying situation. Zyra had to throw down her ult to help persuade NAEVI to back off. So it looks... But at the same time, it looks
Time
like...
bubble from Echo going in, and Zanya's actually from the Orianna to try to pull it off. But she's isolated, and she got destroyed by that Kha'Zix. Zyra is really low right now, taking a little extra damage there. Looks like the enemy team might be going for an engage, but Hokages quickly snatch the turret and walk away clean, losing no members, except that Draven with the ult snipe, taking that Zyra out. Looks like they probably had a little bit of vision, or he paid attention to where she was going, saw her stepping off to the side, and nailed that all, securing that kill and extra gold for Draven. But, again, Hokages still managed to get an inner tower off that.
Right. And it's stuff like that. Like the Hokages, like I said, they are paying attention to the map. They're aware of where their minions are. Their minions are constantly pushing. Their minions are always constantly in a position where even if they don't necessarily get anything, and if everyone just kind of backs out, they can get something from that. They can take an objective from that. The next time that happens, chances are they're going to take Baron if they don't actually win the game outright, depending on where they are on the map. So NAEVI really needs to be careful right now. If they're by Baron and they lose a team fight, Baron's going to be gone. If they lose a person, Baron's going to be gone. If they lose a person in mid lane by that base tower, they might lose the game outright. They need to be aware of this situation. This is really dangerous for them right now.
Absolutely. And again, MKE Hokages, they are just looking for one last little thing in order to get in there, take more turrets, and maybe even break the base or take a Baron. Because literally all that's needed by them is they show that they can get one pick and then turn the rest of the game massively in their favor by that slight slip up in position by the enemy team.
All right, so it looks like everything's kind of resetting. Again, Hokages are trying to set up for keeping their minions pushing, so that's definitely going to be something to be aware of.
Darius is roaming towards mid, and we might end up seeing an attempted engage.
But it looks like
4v4 setting.
Right.
The Ori may be looking to try to get an ult ball, her orb onto the Hecarim in order to do an ult off the Hecarim's ult to pull massive damage together for their team.
But it looks like Shen also has his ult and teleport up, so he can honestly choose when and where he wants to engage. They're going to go ahead and clear out that ward. So now Ooh.
Massive
This
bush
is a
cheese
death
strategy.
bush. This is a death bush, and we'll see if they go ahead and take the bait.
It seems that both teams are going to be in death bush. We'll see how long this death bush
Oh,
lasts
man.
if both teams are just going to sit in it.
And it looks like Thresh took the wrong route.
Thresh falls first. We are seeing a calling. Zyra ult comes out, and Hecarim is starting to get low. He is fighting against that Echo, who is deep, has not yet ulted, ults back, and saves himself. There's still a lot of damage from that Draven, and it looks like Hokages are starting to fall. Echo looking to try to re-engage, and ends up picking up that Darius. Bleed effect still on him. Shen in trouble, but it seems that Shen is able to survive, get a lot of damage down, while Kha'Zix and Lucian are looking to finish stuff out. Draven ends up having to pull back because the Echo threw out his Time Winder, and it looks like that will be a solid team fight for the Hokages, where they aren't able to grab a whole lot off of this, but it seems they definitely asserted quite a bit of pressure over the over Void Navy.
Right. And I think the most impressive thing about that whole team fight was the fact that Draven came out of it full of HP. He didn't have any health missing. That kind of went to go to show you that he had all the peel that he necessarily needed. The Bloodthirster, of course, was definitely going to keep him alive, but you don't have that much health if your team isn't necessarily in front of you protecting you. So it looks like NAEVI might have started to get a little bit of their plan together in terms of what they're going to do moving forward. This is allowing them to go ahead and take this Ocean Drake, which will help them. Although it looks like it might be up for grabs right now. And it looks like the Hokages took the Ocean Drake.
And the fact that two of the members were separated from the team, the Hecarim and the Thresh, both collapsed on by the entire team of the Hokages, is going to be huge. All the Hokages need to do now is take this 3v5 advantage. They have massively in their favor as far as the massive gold lead they've acquired over the course of the game, playing slow and steady and waiting for these objectives to make these picks and get this gold boost. They are going for Baron, and it is in all likelihood going to be completely uncontested by anyone on the enemy team.
The only thing that could possibly come of this would be a
Draven
clutch
ult.
Draven ult, but I don't think he's necessarily going to get it. Lucian goes ahead and
keeps
gets
the
that
cool,
kill.
doesn't even need to bother with the smite because there's no one capable of taking it. And
Exactly.
you see them spreading out. They're getting this push going inside lanes with these empowered minions. That's going to be a very solid push that will start working its way up top very effectively, even if Shen just leaves it now.
You say things are starting to look bleak for NAEVI. They are currently down 6k gold. Things are starting to, if they can't
Shen and Darius fighting once again. Shen taking full advantage of the fact that he gets this massive amount of damage on his Q. Darius does get a bit of healing. Oh, it seems that Hecarim engaged down bot,
Oh, that
and
was not
Zyra
good.
ult comes
That
out,
was
and
not
it catches
good.
the Hecarim.
Oh.
He dies to the Kha'Zix. Thresh is also caught out. Orion ult does quite a bit of damage, but it's not enough to finish any of them. They may be low, but they can go back with their empowered recall and get back to base exceedingly fast.
I don't think
so
they're
much
gonna-
health regained from that Kha'Zix too.
I don't think they're going to go back. I think they're going to try and take as many towers as they can right now.
Speaking of taking towers, Echo is racing against time and quickly shuts down that teleport power of the Darius, sealing him inside their base, and they just walk more minions up mid and bot.
And it looks like they're going to start making moves towards that mid-base tower, or mid-inhib tower. I don't know if they're necessarily going to get any damage on it because Draven is there, but oh my goodness, Echo's in
is
bot.
going in. He has his time bubble. He gets the shield. He gets the proc on Hecarim. And a lot of damage. Hecarim almost falls, but not quite. He's going to be able to heal up in the fountain, and it seems that Hokages quickly get the turret, break the base open, and have a huge advantage as they continue steamrolling this game with now an 8k gold lead.
This is it's starting to look like it's Hokage's game to lose at this point. I don't think they could even... It would take a lot of throws to actually make things kind of change in terms of how this match is progressing. This is starting to shape up into being a pretty one-sided match. If I don't know what Navi can do to kind of turn things around at this point.
Yeah, and when you look at the gold difference, yeah, top lane may be even, but jungle